who will be in our 2024 speaker lineup. So that will be an amazing talk not to be missed. So, make sure you're on the right email list so you find out when those tickets are happening. Now, I'm going to tell you about what's coming up next. All right, morning tea. We have fruit. We have what I think is pronounced as chouquette croissants. I'm not the foodie, and hence I don't organise any of the food just met. And I understand in the coffee update that there will be cold foods for morning tea. They're still working through the process, so you might need to discover a love of iced latte just for the break.
50,000 charities, many run by passionate volunteer boards. The passion isn't strategy. Strategy is about choices, what to do, what not to, what to chase, what to leave. And one strategic question, too often not on the table, is should we exist? Imagine one community, two charities, same services. Are they providing unique value or adding admin? Are they innovating or duplicating? A gain or a drain? To be clear, I'm not saying shut them all down. Many charities operate on pure volunteer power, providing local solutions to local problems. But board members, we need to be able to ask if collaborating or even merging could be more impactful. To best fulfill our purposes, do we need to make tough choices? Imagine our sector as an orchestra, different instruments, same sheet music. So let's collaborate, let's innovate, and make impact that resonates. Thank you.
Today, as someone who has worked with trauma survivors globally for the past 13 years, I know the truth. Kids who are facing severe adversity are not building resilience. They're merely surviving, as I once was. Now, this isn't about branding our children as being overly fragile, but it is about reframing the way we talk about resilience. And it's time to have an honest conversation about how to best empower our kids without downplaying their lived experience.
As my 40s hit, so did perimenopause. One of the many delightful companions of perimenopause is often insomnia. So at a time in life when I had a lot going on with work, relationships, health and family, I was sleeping less, stressing more, and feeling completely overwhelmed. Our nocturnal regrets can rob us of our precious rest and our health and well-being. The potential social and health effects of sleep deprivation can be serious, including heart failure, depression, type 2 diabetes, and workplace accidents.
Intelligence. It's a word that is imbued with a lot of power and respect. And it carries a certain prestige. After all, we look up to those we regard as more intelligent, those we see as smart or bright or clever. And we like to think of ourselves that way too. That self-concept is important because it drives so many of the choices we make in our lives. Whether we apply for that new job, whether we think we have enough talent to negotiate a pay rise, or decide to enroll in a degree and upskill. And that self-concept also drives the decisions of students at high school, whether to undertake more challenging coursework, like advanced science and mathematics, join academic clubs, or gifted and talented programs. And when students at high school, college and university go into a high-stakes examination, intellectual self-concept can either give them the confidence to perform at their best or undermine their performance through test anxiety. So it matters.
So I'm at the end of the day. I've just been at TEDx all day. I loved it. I thought it was a really good event. Everyone was super nice and super helpful, and I feel like it just has this really lovely community. The main woman talking was so good, she was so kind, and she really tried to get guests comfortable with going up and talking to speakers. And one of the things I love that she said is it's not stalking, it's okay, go up and talk to them. And this helped me go up to a speaker that I really loved called David Riley. He had a talk about gender and how gender, even if you're intelligent, how your perception of your intelligence can make you do worse. And this is like more common in female students he sees because he's a lecturer. That talk really hit deep and I really loved it. It talked about we need to raise girls and boys the same. And I love that he talked about the fact that, yeah, you might not think you're biased or have implicit bias, but it's there and that's okay. You're not a horrible person, but we need to be aware of it and work to fix it. All I can say is super nice person. When I went up and talked to him and shared my own experiences, and he actually had a background in computer science, which made me super happy to see someone that was talking about psychology and actually doing psychology and lecturing. There were so many speakers to talk about. I think that outside of that, I really loved the little activation station. So I got my photo taken. What else did I do? I got food. There were free food, free coffee, free sushi. I got some veggie sushi, which was really yummy. And I actually really loved the app. The app they used was really good because you were able to find people and talk to them and message them to meet up. And one part of the app you could go into and you pressed a wheel and it landed on someone that you should meet up with and you could message them if you want. So I think those little things make a difference in just feeling like pushing you to connect with other people, because that's what the event was all about. One of the other thing I loved is the volunteers. Some of the volunteers on their back had, I forget what it is now. They had advocate on their back. And I didn't know what this meant, but this girl next to me asked, she was super lovely, and she's like, what does that mean? What are you an advocate for? And she explained that basically what they do is a week before the event or so, they call up people and they're like, if it's their first time and they haven't been to TEDx before, they ring them up, they talk to them and tell them what the event is about, and they go, do you have any people there? If they're a bit shy, they're like, well, you have me, we can hang out. So I really love that. I thought that was really wholesome and a really good way to make people feel comfortable. And I think they should definitely do that at other TEDx's, not just in Brisbane. There was actually really amazing bands and artists. I cannot say that enough. And I took a lot of footage of the different people and what they were saying. One girl, she was a nurse but did scuba diving, and her scuba diving got her thinking about the environment, and her and I think it was her boyfriend and their friend, I could be wrong, actually ended up starting a company where they made stuff like hammocks or outdoor, I think, camping gear where it was sustainable and made out of recycled materials. So that was pretty awesome. And there was a guy from Google who was awesome. He talked about how he applied for Google multiple times and how I can't even talk about his talk because I just couldn't do it justice, honestly. But I've put my videos in as I'm talking, and that's how I'll edit it, is while I'm talking now, little bits and pieces, and hopefully you can see what I saw. My footage is a bit shaky, but I hope it just shows how good the event was, even if it's a bit of amateur filming on my part.